Good evening, parents, carers, and any other Forest community members who are joining us this evening for our Focus Forest webinar on I Can and I Am, providing young people with the tools to lead a fulfilled life. I'm hoping we've got a number of new year 7, so now year 6 parents joining us. And it's really wonderful, once again, like I said in our last webinar, to welcome new community members, if you are indeed new, to our Forest Focus webinar series. So some of you, if you're watching and you joined us last year, may remember this speaker, and it is such a joy to welcome him back. He's part of the Forest Furniture, even if it's online. And before I do introduce our wonderful speaker, James Shone, this evening, I just want to say, please do bear with us if we experience any technical difficulties. I'm hoping we will not, but I'll jump right in to support and see if we can navigate that situation. But fingers crossed we don't experience any problems at all. Just to remind you, we are coming very close to the end of the academic year. So we have got one more Forest Focus webinar of this series for Trinity, and it's going to be on the 25th of June, and I'll send our usual reminder, and that's going to be Eating Better for Health and the Planet. So as I've said previously, we have a variety of different topics contained in this webinar series, and which we're really proud of. So please do join us on the 25th of June for our final episode in this year's webinar series. Also, just to do an information share, the new webinar series for next academic year will be coming out shortly, and I'll be sending that all to parents and carers in due course before the summer holidays. So James Shone. He has become, I would say, a professional liaison. He is a friend, I would say, and a confidant. He's someone that over the years that I've really got to know, and I'm proud to say that actually he's also in my educational sphere of contacts. He's an absolute gem and a true legend. So, following a 16-year teaching career and a life-threatening setback, James Shone has become one of the most successful educational speakers in the UK today. James is a man who embodies a positive attitude to life, and you'll see that shortly just by his beaming smile, a determination to turn setbacks into springboards, and a passion to increase self-confidence in young people. And I can say he also does that in adults as well. This led him to set up a charity, I Can and I Am, and James now visits hundreds of schools and businesses a year, delivering his powerful messages to pupils, parents and carers and staff to great acclaim. His underlying message is always about inflating balloons of self-belief. And the charity also has a double-decker bus. And James, I'm waiting for it to visit Forest, which is used to visit schools and deliver workshops to further embed James's vital messages. You will get details of the organisation's website and James's details at the end of the webinar. But as I say, we are so excited to welcome James Shone back to the Forest community.
Thank you very much, Miss Milton. Thank you. Good evening. If we go on to the first slide, Natasha, thank you. So what I would love to do over the course of the next sort of 40 minutes or so is share with you, firstly, my story, my journey over the last, is now 12 years. Then I want to talk about self-belief, which is a really challenged space for our children in today's world, and then what we are doing to help them with their sense of self-belief. So if we go forward 2 slides now, please. Thank you. So there is my family. So I'm married. I have 4 children. They're now 22 down to 14. And I was a teacher. I taught for 16 years. And 9 of those years, I was a boys' housemaster, teaching geography A level. But I think I would always describe myself as a man with a big pastoral heart, and it was always trying to make everybody, whether they were academic or not, feel like they were involved and they were valued and they mattered. Anyway, back in 2012, so that's now 12 years ago, I applied to become a headmaster of a prep school. Now, it's the first application I'd ever made. And a surprise to me, I think a surprise to a lot of people, I got that job. And at that time, we were going to be moving into a lovely big head teacher's house, and we had lovely views, and our 4 children could all go through that school. And so it was all good. And then if we move forward a slide, please. Thanks, Natasha. If we go forward and yes, back. If we go back up through that. Sorry, if we go forward a slide and then, sorry, it's all there. So folks, the key thing that I wanted to share with you was that I had a medical, and it was at that medical that they found in my head a great big brain tumor. I then had a rather haunting moment where I had to come home and tell our 4 children we were due to be flying off to Greece the following day. And I had to tell them, we can't go. Daddy's got a brain tumor. I'll never forget my son, who was then 10. So he was probably the only one that really knew what a brain tumor was. But he asked me, Dad, are you going to die? And I remember thinking, oh my word, I'm now in that world. And I said, my boy, I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight with all I've got. And if you look sort of halfway down that schedule, it talks about sight loss. And that's my biggest challenge today. I sit here, and as I talk to you, I can't read what is on that that slide. So my vision is very, very limited, very limited. I've got no sight in my left eye, and I've got probably less than 5% in my right eye. So folks, life is a challenge. That meant that I couldn't become a head teacher. And if we think about it, 2012, I had it all. I had the job, the career, the house, the kids' education. It was all bang, 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 all sorted. Yet a year later, I found myself without a job, without a house, without sight, without energy. But on the other hand, I had 4 kids. I had a wife, and I was actually only 40. It wasn't time to kind of retire and give up. Now, folks, if we go on to the next slide, please, Natasha, there are lots of things that I could once do that I now can't do. You know, I used to play lots of golf as a 5 handicap golfer. Now, well, I can still sort of hit the ball actually, but I have no idea where the ball goes. So golf is a bit of a challenge. I can't drive a car. I can't run. And that sandwich in the bottom right-hand corner, can I share a story about that? I got onto a very busy train one day. And when trains are really busy, I've got to be honest with you, my biggest challenge is that often, you know, I might actually sit on someone's knee. It's like, oh, don't do that. But on this one occasion, I didn't sit on anyone's knee. I sat on a man's homemade sandwiches. And he yelled out for the whole carriage to him. Will you excuse my French when I say this? Are you fucking blind? He yelled. And I said, yes, I am. And the whole carriage laughed, thinking this was like Monty Python. So, folks, I do have my challenges. And if we go forward now, one slide, Natasha, thank you. That's really the context as to who it is that's talking to you. And what I'd like to do now is share with you what happened next. So my wife and I bought a house on the edge of the city of Bath. And to begin with, really, all I could do is in the morning, I would put on my big dressing gown and I'd put on a nappy. And I'd wear a nappy because I couldn't walk. And I would then come down the stairs on my bum, boom, 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 boom. I'd get to the bottom of the stairs, grab hold of the back of a door, back of a sofa, and I get myself to my white chair. And my white chair, I principally slept in. I listened to the radio. Friends would come and see me. My wife would bring me cups of tea. And that was really where I lived. And I remember this one friend came to see me. And he said this to me. He said, James, what's your passion? And I still maintain that's a key question that we should ask all our children, because their passion often reflects what their purpose is in their short go here on this planet. What's your passion? And I said, my passion is to see young people believing in who they are and what they can do. I think that sometimes our education process is quite narrow. It's quite driven by exams, exams, exams. And I'm thinking, no, some children just, maybe they've got dyslexia, or they've got ADHD, or they've got other problems. And I always think our system needs to look at the whole child rather than looking at just that simple thing that we treat them like academic robots, don't we? So if we go forward a slide, please. So at the end of this conversation with Simon Walker, he was called, this friend, he said, James, I think you've hit on it. And I think it is a major problem for a lot of young people. And that is self-belief. A lot of young people feel like they're worth nothing. Maybe they're not very good at academics. Maybe they're not very good at art, drama, music. They're kind of 4 different channels or conduits through school and drama, art, music, sport, academics. Now, if you can't do any of them, you might be feeling like you're really no good. But I think that everybody's good. Everybody's of value. If we go forward a slide, please. On this sheet here, folks, if you look right in the middle, you see that word exams. And often we define whether somebody's academic or educational career has been of value according to their exam results. Exams, no. Not everybody's good at exams. Not everybody's good at academics. Doesn't mean that you're second rate. And then the other big pressure is at the top of the left-hand column where it says social media pressure. And I think the thing that we need to know is that often young people validate themselves. They value how important they are by how many people are following them on Instagram, on Snapchat, how many followers, how many likes do they get? And if they don't get very many, it's like, oh, I'm no good, I'm rubbish, I don't count. And it's interesting, you know, folks, is that we don't really know as mums and dads how much pressure our young people are under. So if we go forward one, please. I think what I want to do now is introduce my idea of my balloon. I don't know if you can see me, but my balloon is an example. My belief is that they have all got a balloon within them. A balloon of I can and I am of value. And when our balloons are inflated like this, 2 things are a reality. The first thing is that we don't battle with our mental health. We feel like we're of value. And the second thing is we're resilient. We bounce back. But you know what, folks? So many young people leave school with a sense of their balloon is very deflated. Maybe it's got no air in it at all. And I sometimes cite that rather lamentable, bleak sight to a bicycle tire. Let's say you get on your bike and maybe you go off on a mountain bike trail and you go through 1 or 2 potholes and you go hit a curb and the road gets really bumpy and you don't realize that your back tire is completely flat. Well, that's going to be when the wheel rim inside the tire gets damaged. But you know what, folks? If we liken this now to our metaphorical balloons, and if they're deflated and they've got no air in them, and let's say you're at school and you fail a test, and let's say you get dropped from a team, and let's say nobody likes what you're doing on Instagram or Snapchat, and you get dropped from a team and you, oh, goodness me, you can see that's the point, how we need to have inflated balloons. So if we go forward a slide, please. The first thing is that I want to say to you as mums and dads is that you are all key. Your role, ultimately, I always say to parents, is just to love your children out of the park. Really, really love them. Our children are under pressure. And that pressure is often school, because schools have to get good exam results. So there's pressure from the staff, but there's also that social media pressure. And so actually, when they come home, they don't need necessarily more pressure from us at home. They need our love. They need our acceptance. They need to feel valued. So folks, if we go forward a slide now, please, two slides, please, Natasha. So these are my 4 pillars, the 4 ways that we can see their balloons inflated. And if we go forward 1, please. The first of my 4 pillars, sorry, go back, please. And forward 1, please. Is that we are all individually unique. Every single child at Forest School is individually unique. Now, they're individually unique in 2 ways. And the first way, if we go forward a slide, please, is that they are all intelligent. Every single one of them is intelligent. And it was Howard Gardner, Professor Howard Gardner, who at the University of Harvard in the late 1990s wrote the multiple intelligence theory. And if we go forward a slide, on that wagon wheel there, those are the different types of intelligence. And if you look at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock, that's where you've got your hold on, I can't see. Maybe it's not the same one. Anyway, the types of intelligence at school, where they do logic, which is your maths and science, your word smart, that's your English and your history and so on. But as you can see from that, there are lots of types of intelligence. And it's a very simple thing, folks, really. We've got to do our best to find out where our children are intelligent. And guess what, guys? When they're in their place of intelligence, that's when air goes into their balloon. And air in the balloon equals no mental health and absolute full resilience. They bounce back. And I always say, folks, that when someone's balloon is deflated, what we need to offer them is evidence-based praise. I saw you, I heard, I noticed. Rather than, oh, I think you're great, you're a champion. That means nothing. Let's offer them evidence-based praise. And if we go forward 2 slides now, please, Natasha. And then again, as well as all being intelligent, they all have a purpose. What is their purpose? Where do they come alive? Is it playing sport? Is it drama? Is it art? Is it music? Well, that's great because they can do that at school, but it may be other things. It may be making things, mending things. It may be cooking. It may be walking the dog. It may be, I don't know, camping and fires and I don't know, different things. You all will have heard of Bear Grylls. Bear Grylls was a boy at school at Eton, and he didn't feel like he was as clever as the other boys. He didn't feel like he was as good at sport as the other boys. And when he was talking to his mum and dad at the end of year 9, he said, everyone's better than me at everything. I don't know what I can do. And his dad decided to take him the following day climbing on the cliffs of the Isle of Wight. And that is what Bear, as we all know now, loves, that sort of world. So let's look out. Let's ponder, rather than necessarily their exam results all the time. But let's think about 1, where are they clever? And 2, what is their purpose? Because when they are in those 2 places, that puts air in their balloon. Now, if we go forward a slide now. Thank you. Now, this is a short little clip of the late, sadly he's died, and great Shane Warne. Let's watch this.
You were comparatively late coming to cricket. When you were a kid, you were more into AFL and tennis. What prompted the switch?
Them writing me a letter saying you're not good enough.
For AFL?
Yeah, and St Kilda Footy Club, I got a letter saying your services are no longer required at the club, we wish you good luck for the future. And I'm like, that's my dream. I was shattered.
How old were you?
18, turning 19, and I was like, okay, I've been to Moorabbin TAFE and done accounting, and that didn't really grab me. I delivered beds for 40 winks, that didn't really grab me. So doing all that, I thought I delivered pizzas on a Friday night, so I thought I've got to be good at something. And I realised that everyone is good at something. You've got to find out what you're good at. I was good at bowling leg spin, and so as you say, I was a late developer, but I worked pretty hard to try and be the best version of myself I could be, and I think I got there.
How much do you think the sting of that rejection from St Kilda has driven you throughout your career?
My life in everything. Being told as an 18-year-old that you're not good enough, you can go two ways, I reckon. You can get determined, which is what I did, or you can sort of say, this is all too hard and blame everyone else and become a victim and just fall off the wayside. I know a lot of people that were very good at sport, but got caught up with the wrong people or were told they're not good enough and they couldn't handle that, so they just fell away.
It's interesting as you watch that clip. I think is two messages to us, and we must take those seriously. I think the first message is that every single one of us here on planet Earth at this time, 2024, we've all got something unique that is within us that makes us us. As he said, I was not bad at bowling leg spin. He was amazing, wasn't he? We've all got something. And then the second thing he said, when things go wrong, I always say this to young people, we only get one go at life, one go. When things go wrong, we mustn't lie in that pity puddle of, oh, poor old me. Let's learn to get up. And he said, I get determined. Okay, so that's the first. They're all intelligent, and they all have a unique purpose. What is it? And when they are doing those things, air goes in their balloon. The second is to challenge yourself to move forward. If we go forward a slide, please. Thank you, Natasha. That sense, I love that quote from Martin Luther King. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. If you can't crawl, keep moving forward. Keep moving. It's a very simple principle, isn't it? That when we make progress, air goes in our balloons. If we go forward 2 slides now, please, Natasha. Thank you. In 2012, after I'd been in hospital for 80 days, I came out of hospital and I had 2 challenges. I was at my mum's house, and the 2 challenges were these. One, I couldn't see, so there was the odd broken bit of crockery, crockery, and glasses and mugs, and it was awful. But the second thing that was even worse was that I couldn't walk. So every morning, the day would start with a physio would be holding my shoulders. Well done, James. You've done 3 steps today. Folks, that was as far as I could go. I couldn't walk. Anyway, I by the end of each day, I had given up trying to walk, and I would come crawling into my mum's kitchen with a sense of, Mum, look at me, I'm 40, I've got 4 children, I'm meant to be becoming a head teacher, and I can't even walk. And my mum said this to me. She said, it's all about taking small steps. And small steps is what it's all about, folks. And if we look at those 3 pictures in the middle, on the left-hand side, that was me in 2015 when I rode down the River Thames from start to finish. And in the middle, that was me where I cycled on a tandem bike, obviously on the back. And I cycled from Bath Abbey to Big Ben in London. And then last year we rode, or 2 years ago, we rode from Ilfracombe in North Devon across the Bristol Channel all the way to Swansea in South Wales. 28 miles we did. And that was in the open sea. Now, folks, I don't say that for you to say, wow. I say that to say that small steps, they do work. And it's that, I can see you. Well done. I noticed. And that puts air in their balloons. Can we go forward again? I'm going to show you another short clip. And now this is of a lady, I don't know if you've seen it before, but a lady who is completely deaf. And let's just watch how she handles her challenge.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you?
And what's your name?
Mandy Harvey.
And who's this?
My interpreter.
What's your name?
Sarah.
Nice to meet you, Sarah.
Nice to meet you,
you?
sir.
Hi, Sarah.
Doing well, thank you. Hello.
Okay, Mandy, so I think I've worked this out. So you're deaf?
Yes, I lost all my hearing when I was 18 years old.
Wow. And how old are you now?
29. So it's 10 years.
Wow. And Mandy, how did you lose your hearing, if you don't mind me asking?
I have a connective tissue disorder, so basically I got sick and my nerves deteriorated.
So you were singing before you lost your hearing?
Yeah, I've been singing since I was 4. So I left music after I lost my hearing and then figured out how to get back into singing with muscle memory, using visual tuners, and trusting my pitch.
So your shoes are off because you're feeling the vibration. Is that how you're following the music?
Yeah, I'm feeling the tempo, the beat through the floor.
And Mandy, what are you going to sing?
I'm gonna sing a song that I wrote called Try.
Okay, can you tell me what it's about?
After I lost my hearing, I gave up. But I want to do more with my life than just give up. So.
Good for you.
Okay.
Good for you. Okay, well, look, this is your moment, and good luck.
Okay. I don't feel the way I used to. The sky is gray, much more than it is blue. But I know one day I'll get through, and I'll take my place again if I would try. If I would try. Oh, there is no one for me to blame, 'cause I know the only thing in my way is me. I don't live the way I want to. That whole picture never came into view. But I'm tired of getting used to the day. So I will try. So I will try. If I would try. If I would try.
Mandy, I don't think you're going to need a translator for this.
Oh, it's a wonderful tale, that, isn't it? And I don't know if you heard in the middle of the song where she says, the only thing that gets in my way is me. And I often, when I'm speaking in schools, I'll stop after that point and I'll say, did you hear that lyric, that line? Because often it is us, isn't it? It is us that says, no, I can't do it. No, I'm not going to do it. No, there's no point. but I always say we need to take those small steps. And small steps means we make progress. And our job as mums and dads is to notice, is to applaud and realistically applaud those small steps. My third point is for them to have a positive attitude. And I've got the word attitude there in capitals because I always make the point that it is a choice. Nothing to do with them being gifted or talented, or it is their choice. And if we go forward a slide, please. I always say our attitude affects our level of hope. And I always say hope is probably my favorite word in the English language. It means that good is around the corner. Let's learn to be hope-filled. Let's learn to help our children to be hope-filled. And it's for them to choose that, yeah, no, I'm going to give it a go. I can do it. As opposed to, no, I'm not going to try. And folks, one of the things, we go forward a slide now, please. I'm a great believer that setbacks can be springboards. And the way we handle a setback is key. I always say, let's teach our children to reflect, ask ourselves the question, why did that go wrong? And then refine themselves. You know, let's say they're in a school play the first time and they don't learn their lines and they're made to feel a bit of a fool when on the stage. It's not a case of, no, I can't act. It's a case of, you didn't learn your lines. Reflect on it. Next time, don't do it. The other way is we can dwell on it and then define ourselves. Oh, I'm rubbish. I'm no good. And then when we've done that, folks, we go forward one more slide. It is to teach our children to dream a dream. I always say when a young person has a dream, I want to fly an aeroplane. I want to grow grapes and make wine. I want to have a dream. And then that gives them a sense of purpose in their lives. Too many of them, oh, I need to pass my exams. I need to get that. And I always say it's not your exam results. It's your attitude that makes sure that your dreams come alive. I'm going to show you another short clip now. And if we go forward a slide, this man here has got no arms and no legs, an unimaginable journey. But you know what, folks? He's spoken to 3 billion of the world's population. And the reason why so many people want to listen to him is because he's got the most unbelievably positive attitude. Let's just watch this short clip.
I wasn't ready. I have no arms and no legs, but I'm very thankful that I have my little chicken drumstick here. People freak out when they see me for the first time. It's so cool. I was at a water slide all by myself. Everyone obviously at the bottom of the slide is looking up and waiting for other people to come down, and here I come and they're freaking out. They're like, you know, like this. And I was so tempted to look at myself and go, what happened? You know? And there were times where I sort of looked at my life and thinking, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. And you keep on concentrating on the things that you wish you had or the things that you wish you didn't have. And you sort of forget what you do have. And there's no point, I believe, in my life where I wish I had arms and legs, I wish I had arms and legs, I wish I had arms and legs, because wishing won't help. But what I've seen in life are just a couple key principles, and the first thing that I've seen is to be thankful. It's hard to be thankful, man. I tell you, when I was 8 years old, I sort of summed up my life and thought, I'm never going to get married, I'm not going to have a job, I'm not going to have a life of purpose. What kind of a husband am I going to be if I can't even hold my wife's hand? It's a lie to think that you're not good enough. It's a lie to think that you're not worth anything. Oh boy. Woo! It's freezing, I can't feel my hands.
Oh, folks, he's a remarkable man. And what he has taught me is, if we look at those two pictures there, sometimes we're very quick, aren't we, to dwell on what we haven't got and what we can't do. And that life is dark and it's difficult and it's challenging and it's cold and, oh, we've got so much to do. But that little guy has taught me the right-hand picture is what we need to dwell on in our lives. Let's learn to be thankful for what we do have, for the opportunities, the possibilities, the things that we can do. And that will lead into a much, much happier place. And I think it's that idea, let's learn to be thankful for what we do have and we can do, rather than dwelling on, oh, I can't see, oh, I can't. If we dwell on that, we don't want to get up in the morning, do we? And if we go on now to the fourth and final pillar, this is the importance of belonging and feeling needed and accepted for who we are. Mother Teresa, who became a saint after she died, she said that human beings, we need to belong as much as the air that we breathe. And if you go forward 2 slides now, please, Natasha. And one more, actually, one more. I always, when I speak to young people, encourage them to encourage one another. There's often a sense that they look towards Mrs. Milton, or they look towards us as parents, or they look towards their form teacher, always for encouragement. But I say, guys, why can't we encourage one another? And encouragement from their peers is turbo inflation of their balloons. I always try and teach kids to collaborate, that second word, not always to compete with one another. I always say competition is best done against ourselves. And let's collaborate. If you look at my hands there, we're working with one another. You're good at that. Yeah, you can do that. You complete and finish. Yeah, you have good ideas. Let's work with one another and encourage one another too. And that will increase that sense of belonging. I always say to year groups, let's focus on what each other can do rather than telling them what they can't do. Let's learn to focus on what other people can do. And if we go forward now, a slide, please. And again, please. Right, there's a short little animation here. And this is something we as a charity have made up. And let's watch this, and then I'll move towards the finishing line. A few years ago, life threw me a curveball. At 40 years old, I had just got my dream job as a head teacher when I was diagnosed with a brain tumour. 27 hours of surgery later, I was almost entirely blind. To this day, I struggle daily with sight loss, balance and fatigue. This journey taught me a thing or two about having self-belief when things get hard. Think of self-belief like a balloon inside you. When your balloon is deflated, your self-belief is low. You might feel like you don't have value, but when it's inflated, you feel good about yourself, and your mental well-being is healthy. Having a well-inflated balloon doesn't mean you won't ever fail, but it gives you the resilience to bounce back. These are 4 simple ways to help you inflate your balloon. First, appreciate your uniqueness and your strengths. Try not to compare yourself to others. We aren't all built to be the best at exams, music or sport, but everyone is intelligent in one way or another. Find where you are intelligent and use it. The second lesson is to move forward. As human beings, we are hardwired to make progress. Ignore the voice that tells you that you're no good or you cannot do something. Maybe you can't do it yet, but abilities are not fixed. Small steps forward make a big difference. thirdly, know that you belong, whether it's with friends, at home, in clubs, school or elsewhere. You're part of something bigger than just you. Spend time in a place where you can be yourself. Finally, have hope. You can choose to be hopeful about the future. If setbacks happen, don't let them define you, but refine yourself and improve. Set yourself goals and dream big dreams. Above all, remember that a positive attitude is your choice. Be thankful for what you do have and can do. Please. Forward. I rather love this quote. I used to have this stuck to my desk when I was a housemaster. I think it includes the 3 central themes of good pastoral care. The first is that we notice. I've been talking about that a bit this presentation, but that we do notice. I think if people have got deflated balloons, we need to offer them authentic praise, that I saw you, I noticed, I was watching, rather than that kind of, you're great, you're the best. That means nothing. It really does. Correct occasionally. And what I mean by that is that actually when they make mistakes, it's okay. That's when they can learn that model of reflecting on it and refining themselves. But that piece of above all, we cherish the brethren. And, I think, as I said at the beginning, our job is really to love our children, love them to bits. And they need our support. They need to feel like we rate them, that we value them, for who they are and how they're doing. I think that's really important. And if we go forward again, there are the 4 ways. They're all individually unique. 2 ways. They're intelligent. How are they intelligent? And they also have their unique purpose. Let's challenge them to take small steps. And we notice those small steps. We applaud those small steps. Their attitude, an attitude where they learn to be thankful for what they do have and what they can do. And finally, that they feel like they're needed, that they belong. They belong in our families, but they also belong at Forest. And that will lead to them all having inflated balloons of self-belief. And on that note, I think I can say thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope that's been of value. There are 1 or 2 ways that we can remain in touch, should you want to. Thank you.